We've been waiting for a long time. Yes, we've been waiting for a long, long time. We've been waiting for a long time. But we ain't gonna wait no more. We're getting ready to rock and roll. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town.
Some folks have a strange idea of entertainment.
Hi, I'm Kyle Pierson.
And I'm John Horton. And my cat just knocked over my pop. Why does this always happen to me? Okay. Yeah. Take two.
I thought we should just keep going.
We're going to keep going.
Okay. I'm Kyle Pierson.
And I'm John Horton.
And we're going to review The Devil's Vortex. At least the first two parts of Devil Vortex. It's a anthology. I believe there's going to be 5 or more segments in it. Each piece is separate. They tell different stories. But there is one central character involved, which me, nor my wife, nor you, nor your wife identified that in the first 2 parts. Maybe we would have caught on as it continued on, but we didn't realize that the character from the first one was actually the same character in the second one. I don't know if it was the lighting or the makeup or what it was, but I thought those were 2 different characters.
I never caught on to that either. I'd like which character was it? Obviously, there's only one male character in the first one.
Yeah, no, it's the actual devil. There's the devil appears in both.
Oh,
or devil-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing, because these are also very short segments, so it's hard to review without giving away too much, because you start to say what the premise is, and then you're just giving away almost the whole thing, which is what I liked about it. Was the fact that each one was very unique. The second one I thought was a bit comedic. In fact, I would have liked to see more of that one once we got into it. One's about a tattoo, and then one's about a Halloween party, and both of them go in directions that you do not expect. The second one I think is more my style. Because there's humor involved, and I do like humor in my horror. I guess I should have kept talking.
The cat wants to eat my hat now. All right, so
my wife just sewed together a hat that my puppy ate. So.
All right, so I didn't know I was getting into an anthology. What I thought we were going to watch was a 5-minute intro to the movie, like the first 5 minutes, and then 2 shorts that they had done prior to this. Whatever. But when it started up, I was surprised to see it was an anthology. I'm kind of over anthologies because it seems like a lot of people are doing them. This one was better than a lot that I have seen. This one seemed to be more, to me, it was more professional looking as far as camera work, lighting. The acting was better than I've seen in a lot of independent movies. I, on the other hand, wish they were a little bit longer to get a little bit better feel, because when shit happens in the first story, I feel like it just kind of shit happened and I'm fine with it. I jumped there, you know. Oh my God. Okay, cool, bro.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing because I thought the reaction was so fast. I'm like, okay, we could get to that point, of course, and I understand, you know, once it resolved, I'm like, oh, now I understand what this whole thing was about. I just thought we went from to okay, and I'm like, okay, we need a little bit more of, wait a minute, did what just happened actually happen? And let me look around just to make sure. Exactly. And instead we were just, you know, I thought it wrapped up too fast. And with the second one, the second one I was really getting into. I'm like, oh, this is okay. We're having some fun here, and yeah, and then it wrapped up, and I'm like, okay, this I would actually like to see as a full feature. This was way too short, and I'm like, this is something where you could just, house after
Yeah.
house, different things happen.
Yep. The second one, that could really be built into. And that's the thing with a lot of shorts. A lot of the shorts that you watch, whether it's on YouTube or in anthologies, you're like, damn, that would make for a great full-length feature movie. That
Mhm.
second story should have been a feature length, I think, because I don't understand why it happened. I like the direction it was going, but
Mhm.
something happens to this group of partiers at celebrating Halloween at someone's house. Something happens to them, and I might have missed it, but I don't understand why it happened to them. I don't understand what was causing it to happen to them. It
Mhm.
was just like, boo,
Mhm.
you figure it out.
Yeah.
you know?
And I can see where they were coming from, like, because you and I have both been getting involved with Indiegogo projects, where, for those of you who don't know, it's a way for people who generally can't get into movies can buy your way into a movie. But it's more for the people who are trying to get a movie done who can't. They found a way to have people pay for the film by doing different parts, whether you do a voice acting role, a small role in the film itself, that type of thing. So it's a way of funding a film.
Right.
And especially for independent films, it's very difficult because you're probably not going to make your money back on the release from how much you made. It's very rare that an independent small film makes a lot of money. Um, so I think in the anthology way, it works because you can make a small film, and then if your whole crew may disband for a while, and then you can come back and make another small film, and then you just collect these up and put them together, and then you got yourself a movie. So in that way, I think it's a clever way of being able to make a long movie by making a variety of short ones. Because one of the movies I'm working on right now, they stopped production months ago and now they're resuming it. So I'm like, well, if there's a scene that takes place that same day, the people may look a little different than they
Yeah.
did, months ago. Um, and I think maybe that explains why the character of the devil or the devilish, whatever he is, may have looked different because maybe they had just gotten together a mask and graphics, and then over the course of time, they were able to make more. Because I also don't think, from what I understand from the Q&A, and I probably should have taken some notes, we're rusty with this. This is the first
So
one
bad.
we've done since high school, by the way, of doing a
4
movie.
years later, kids.
Yeah, that's right. Um, so anyway, it sounded like most of these are either produced already or they're still producing a couple. And a couple of those segments had been sent to film festivals. So I got the feeling that maybe they're out of order and maybe they did improve on the look of the character that's right there. There you go. That's the character we're talking about. Because he looks like that in the second one, but
Yeah.
I didn't think he looked like that at all in the first one.
No.
And maybe he's supposed to look different, but that was something that wasn't explained. And the only reason I knew about it at all was in the Q&A. The director writer mentioned it because you didn't know about it at all until I said it.
Exactly.
And take one of this. This is the third time. This is our third take, I think. So yeah. So I think that may have been the cause for that.
Good possible. Good. You're probably right. Um, that's the thing with Indiegogo. It's not, and I want to add in with Indiegogo that it's not just parts and movies or an IMDb credit. There's all kinds of shit you can get, like posters, signed DVDs,
Yes.
props from the movies, clothing that they wore on screen, which is kind of creepy. But it's a variety of things, and Kyle's absolutely right. It is a passion project for the people making it, so it is difficult to review it and not be mean. Because
Because that's the thing. Because if, because I've been in some already that I'm like, oh, you know what, this one's coming together pretty good. I'm actually very, very surprised at how well this looks. And then I've been in one in particular where I'm like, this is not in any way, shape, or form what I thought it was going to be. And I can't figure out, it's not, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, okay, but I also, I know that's all the internet is. Whether a movie's good or bad, there's just the people going to trash it,
yeah,
for whatever reason. Um, I no longer feel like I can do that because I know that how much time and effort people are putting into it for a vision that they have. Their vision may not be the same as my vision, might not be my cup of tea, but at the same time, I also am proud of the fact that I can help them produce whatever it is they're trying to produce, whether I like the outcome or not. Um, it's just nice to see them get it done, because they're like, okay, you nor I have ever made a movie our own. We've done productions in high school, but we've never gone out and made a movie. I think both of us have movies in our head we would love to make, and we should make them, but we haven't. So anybody who goes to the trouble to make their own film and figure out how to finance it and get all this stuff together and say, okay, I'm going to sell off all the props. We're going to make posters. One of the movies I'm in, I actually am going to have a character poster of me in the poster.
sweet.
So I'm like, okay, I'm in it for 20 seconds, but I'm going to have my own character poster. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. I like that. So I think anybody who comes up with those things get credit just for the fact that they made a movie that they wanted to make. And we who want to make a movie are buying into it and helping them when we should be making our own.
Good call. Good call. I say it on my other channel, our Chetty and Lycan Horror Party Massacre channel that I have with my wife. When I do a review, I always try to say, especially if it's an independent movie, that I give great credit and respect for the people that make these independent movies because they're following their passion, they're following their dream, they're motivated to do it. I'm not. I don't have that. I would love to, but I just don't have that motivation or that passion. So hats off to you, and kudos, respect. Just some of them shouldn't be making them. There's some movies I can't be nice about.
Yeah.
They're just so I can't because they are just so, they shouldn't have been made, man. Yeah. Whether it's for me or for you or for a taste of fame, I don't know. But Devil's Vortex is not one of those movies. Now, we did get a bite-sized piece of it, but what I seen looked very good. The acting was good. It wasn't Oscar quality. You're not going to get a Golden Globe for it. The director seemed to have a good eye for lighting and camera angles and shots. I thought the production values were pretty good. The blood effects, the gore was pretty cool. I always like seeing practical gore effects and blood instead of the CGI. So anytime I watch an independent movie that has that, I'm giving a thumbs up. They did good. I'd like to see the completed project. I thought they said that you could already buy it during the Q&A at one point.
Maybe you can. I mean, we should look it up. But this is the type of thing we should have done before we again. We used to research stuff, and now we're just kind of throwing stuff together. We'll get if we do this again, we're going to get better at it. I promise.
I don't think so. I mean, we spent 2 years in television production class. Did we have one fucking script?
No. We tried. We tried. But one thing is, especially the second segment, I thought they did an incredible job mixing creepiness with comedy, because right off the bat, there's a knock on the door. I won't say anything else, and I'm like, ooh, that's creepy. and then moments later I'm laughing. It's like a Return of the Living Dead scenario where you're laughing, but at the same time you're like, this actually, is it a comedy because it's, it is scary, but at the same time it's, it's a very good blend of the two. And like we were saying, I would really love to see that second segment blown up, and I'm interested to see what the other segments are.
Yeah, you said there was what, 3 other ones?
I think so. I think they said 5 or 7 or something like that. I didn't know if there was 5 total or maybe 5 in addition to the 2 we'd already seen. The 2 that we saw, I think, totaled 25 minutes, I think, and that included the narration um, for the 2. And I think the narration was at the beginning, middle, and end. And that was something I think in the first take, we talked about the narration. I don't think we've talked about the narration in this take, so we need to mention that. Jinx from Black Veiled Brides, who I've actually come in contact with.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so anyway. I believe they did Warp Tour a few times, and I used to market Warp Tour when I was in working at Pan American Center. But the even though it's similar to like a Twilight Zone or a Hitchhiker or what was the other one we're talking? Tales from the Crypt. The narration goes a little too long, given how short the segments were. That was our issue: is that we're talk, quick little bite, talk, and we just wanted to get into more of the action, less of the talk. So
Right.
Our suggestion was if they do more of these, and it's presented by Jinx, so it's Jinx's production. I would just shorten those and get to the point and get onto the segments. Because I don't need everything spelled out for me. I want to see it when I see it.
Well, having it all spelled out for you, for me, it was difficult because he's using these big, long fucking words. And I'm just slowly finding myself tuning out.
Yeah.
Like, slow as he's talking, he's going into all this exposition. I'm just like, what's on Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, it's starting. Okay.
Yeah. And what's bizarre about that is the fact that if, again, that same character was the devil character was in 1 and 2, and we didn't get that, that would have been something to mention in the dialogue. That okay, well, this isn't the first time you're going to see,
Right.
and then we move in and we're like, okay. But then again, without seeing the full picture, maybe there's some more context as it goes on, and we're only getting the first 2 portions of that. So it's kind of hard to review something when you don't have the full picture.
Right. And I do hope that somewhere along the line, like towards the end, I hope that they keep doing it where he's not really that noticeable. And then at the ending, it's like this big reveal, and you're like, oh shit. Kind of like, how in like Saw, it's like, oh
yeah.
Everything
Saw,
points to it, but you don't catch it until it's revealed. And then the second time watching, you're like, oh, I see what they did. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's how there are 11 saws because there's no matter where you are in this, there's always some twist at the end that they always catch me on every single time. So I'm hoping with that that would be a good way to go forward with it, and I'd like to see that. Any other comments?
Not really. Overall, like I said, I enjoyed what I seen. I'm anticipating seeing the full-fledged flick to partake in all of that entertainment because it was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend. Is it still on YouTube? Again, we should have researched this.
Mm-hmm.
But oops.
Yeah. One thing I would say I like about the anthology thing, especially now having 2 puppies, is that I can't get through a movie now without having to stop, go for a walk, come back, feed, whatever. So there's actually times to pause and say, okay, get something done. But yeah, I think, and again, like we were talking about the Indiegogos, quality wise, this is one of the better ones because
Yes.
and I think maybe because of the anthology nature of it, that's how they were able to do that. One thing I'd also like to do, since we have some time, is talk about maybe the pros and cons of Indiegogos, since we just brought that up. And I don't even know if this is an Indiegogo film. This would just be an independent film for all I know.
Right. Good call.
But if you're, because now we've brought it up, so we probably have some interest in whether or not you want to get into Indiegogos. There's different ones. There's Indiegogo. There's a couple other crowdfunding ones. And again, the idea is you can buy different things. There are pros and cons to it. I think you've actually had more cons than I have.
Yeah, unfortunately. I've put money in towards a couple movies that have never, one of them has still yet to be released. That was 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And it keeps getting prologue. They keep putting an update up maybe like once a year. We're still working. And this was supposed to be released how long ago?
Yeah.
And there's another one that I normally do the physical media, Blu-ray, DVD.
Mhm.
Another one that I did, it got finished. It got put on streaming platforms. They never signed any kind of deal or did anything for physical media. So it's basically like everyone that put in money for a Blu-ray or DVD, guess you're not getting it.
Did you get a free digital copy?
I did, but that wasn't good enough.
Okay.
I don't want to.
I know you pay for a Blu-ray, you want a Blu-ray.
Exactly.
But I was going to say, at the very least, they gave you the movie.
Yeah, and I could go on to Tubi and watch it for free. I won't do it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
And plus, that has commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got burned on those two, but there's been several that I've gotten really lucky with. I shouldn't say really lucky. There's a couple guys. There's Slasher 15. I'll give a shout out to. They have always delivered. Fuzzy Monkey Films has always delivered. They may not have the best quality stuff, but they've always gotten their perks out. Sean Burkett, I've always had good luck with. Who's the other one? Tori Jones. Tori Jones with Jonestown's Films. Those guys I trust implicitly to give money to. Everyone else, because of the couple of bad experiences of not getting the stuff or getting the delay. I mean, I understand making a movie. I don't fully understand what goes into it because I've never done it. I know it's not something that you can just throw together and you're done. But there's been several that, and you're involved in one with an actual photo in the picture, I think is what it was, where it was supposed to be released here, and you see the following, you're following on social media, and you're just not seeing any real progress made towards it getting completed.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. I'll let you talk about more on that side.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm losing my thing here. I've done, I think, 7. And you're the one that got me into this. So, because I had been an extra or a stand-in in a lot of productions, from Independence Day Resurgence to Better Call Saul, and then some very small films like 50 to 1 and films you've probably never heard of. And you've probably never seen me, even if you've seen the movie, because usually I'm in the background somewhere. But I have fun and I enjoy it. I like to do it. I like to be on set. I like to watch all the going ons. I've been this close to Morgan Freeman and Josh Brolin and a lot of big named actors. So it's very cool whether or not I even get in the actual production, because some of the stuff I've been edited out of, and that's just the way it goes. So when these came up and you told me about one of them, and I won't say the titles of some of these, I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity to be in something, because one of them, they said, okay, you can have a voice role. And I'm like, all right, my voice has not been in any of these. I only just show up. You might see my face. So I'm like, all right, I'll pay for some voice ones. And one of them, I got I'm voicing a police dispatcher, and I have a few lines. I don't know how many of those lines are going to get in it, but it's part of a conversation, so it's chance that all of them are going to get in there. It did take a long time to get to that point. Um, I noticed that the person making it was having issues with finances. Didn't have any issues with going on 4 vacations,
Exactly.
but but had trouble getting the movie made. And I'm like, okay, whatever. As long as the movie gets made, and the movie's getting made. So I'm like, okay, that makes me feel better, because for a long time I didn't get the audio cut. And I'm like, okay, is this movie going to get made? Because I really didn't want to just pay for someone's vacation. But the movie's getting made, and I am happy with my lines. So I'm like, okay, fine, we're good. And I also bought a picture. I'm a missing person. So me and my dog are going to be on a missing person thing. One of the other audios I did, it was for a movie. This particular company had made another movie that not only was distributed, but I saw a DVD where they also re-released it years later as a double feature with another film. So I'm like, okay, these people have made a movie that has gotten released multiple times. So I went on board with that one, and they say you can voice. We'll find a creative way to get it in. Well, my voice is going to be in the background of a scene. People are going to be talking over me probably. So I'm like, okay, why did I pay money to be in the background again? Because that was the whole point of paying to get in it, so I wouldn't be in the background anymore.
Yeah.
So that I'm disappointed by, and it hasn't come out, and maybe you can actually hear me clear as day, and I was allowed to say whatever I wanted. So I came up with 6 clever things that also may have tied in with their other movies, to hopefully they would like it and say, okay, let's let's let them hear the whole thing, because it would benefit them as well. So we'll see. And then, because I knew that there was a chance my voice was going to get talked over, then I bought a picture in there as well. So hopefully my picture shows up. But then there was another one where they said you're actually going to voice a character. This one was for, and I'll say the name of this one, Helvira's Haunted Asylum of Horrors. And it's the one you saw. And they said, okay, you'll voice Jester the Dread. And I'm like, oh, great. Oh, my phone is ringing. You got to be kidding me. I should have had it in here. So I was like, okay, I can voice a character. And he was going to tell jokes in between segments. So basically, that movie is about a horror hostess and a whole bunch of these bizarre characters hosting the film Night of the Living Dead, which is really cool, because, like, if you go, you can buy this movie that has the host in it for $5, but if you buy Night of the Living Dead by itself, it's $10. So it's actually better to buy the cheaper one and get all the extra stuff. So buy that. And what I liked about that was, because at first I was concerned. I'm like, okay, what if somebody really bad at this and had really bad equipment bought the role? And then they're stuck into this movie, and I was like, that just seemed risky. Well, what I liked is that Morgan Walborn, the director, he actually, even though I bought it, still had me cut some lines. He says he wanted to hear what my voice was, and I did like 6 different voices for him. And then I think he wrote the jokes after I did it, so I ended up getting 6 scenes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I think what he did was he saw how well, if I was good enough to do it, and then had me do other ones. Because later he actually wanted me to voice another character, and I couldn't do it. He wanted me to do a Spanish accent, and I'm like, I can't. And every time I tried, it became French. And I was like, you know what? Probably not a good idea for me to do a Spanish accent anyway. So I think he ended up doing it. But that actually, I think, turned out pretty good. I was very proud of that, and the guy, he knocked it out, and I got all my stuff sent right away. And then there's another project I'm on where I'm actually going to act in it. And there was a couple actual. They have some where you do a remote acting thing, and I did one for Friday the 13th Blood Loss. I play a vlogger, and I got to see that film last night, and that's pretty good. I appreciated that, and that's another thing where they can do it very, very bad. And I think you can talk to this on another film that you had done because you had said something to me before. When there's multiple, like a vlogger situation.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to get all these people in the movie. And I cut this long thing, and fortunately they edited it properly. They only took a segment from mine, a segment from somebody else's, and then put it together, and it was good. Another one that I did the same thing for, well, actually I didn't. I voiced a commercial that's inside of it. And so mine was separate, and I actually like that too. But they had everybody cut the same line, and in the movie they have them like changing the channel, like all these newscasts are talking about the same thing. The problem is every newscast is not talking about the same thing. They're saying the exact same dialogue. So you go through 15 seconds of this dialogue, and then they change the channel, and the next person is saying the exact same 15 seconds of dialogue, and there's like a dozen of these, and it's over and over and over, and you're like,
oh God,
you don't have to hear. I know they paid to be in it, but you shouldn't play the entire thing 15 times or 20 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's not the way you should go about it. There's there's a better way to do it, and I think the way they did it in Blood Loss was well done. And then I've got one called Death Bite coming out, where I actually got to act with Jessa Flux, who's she's damn near in 50, 60, 70 movies now. And I got to do a scene with her and another scene, and they let me ad lib a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had a line, and then I screwed up. I had to yawn in the damn thing, and I wanted to do it so good. I'm like, I'm not going to mess this up with somebody who's been in 50 movies. So I kept doing the line over and over and over and over and over for hours. So in the thing, I keep yawning, and then I say my line, and I yawn. Well, after you do that for a few hours, you are tired as hell. And I couldn't remember the lines. And I'm like, so I'm sitting there, I'm talking to her. I'm supposed to like, you look beat or whatever the thing was. And I'm like, you look. And then she kind of think I'm an idiot. And I was like, okay, never do that. Never freaking do that. But that movie's coming out, and I only saw the parts that I cut, and they did that very well. So again, there's if you're going to buy into these things, you're taking a risk, because some of these movies may not come out. They may come out years later. You might not get what you necessarily think you're going to get. But if you could get in there, especially, I've already been in stuff. If this was my first time and I just wanted to get my voice in there, this is a great opportunity for somebody for the first time to get, pay your money, get in there. Or even if you want your name in the credits, some of these you spend like $1 and they'll put your name in the credits. Yeah. The credits are like 2 miles long.
Yeah, they're teensy tiny little bitty.
Yeah, but your name's in the credits if you want that. Or they'll do a shout out for you or something. But yeah, you can buy a DVD. They'll add your name in the credits in the movie. So you own a DVD with your name in the credits. So that's, that can be very cool too. So, and you help them make their movie.
Exactly.
So there's pros and cons to it. But if you ever want to see, actually I shouldn't, because Jess is in it, but your review of Murder's Ice, it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And people love that movie.
I know.
You didn't. But again, like I'm saying, not every movie's made for every person, but it was definitely not made for you.
That definitely was not made for me. And I was so excited about it. So excited, because I seen this guy's other stuff and I loved it. And then that. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
but the way you went back and you're like, okay, we're going to show you what I'm. He does this. Just go see it. Just it's Chetty and Lycan, murder size. So yeah. Look it up. It's on YouTube. It's very funny. And then you also have your who shit on a hot dog.
What a piece. Yeah, who shit on a hot dog? Who shit on that hot dog? That's reviewing chili dogs from across during our travels.
Yeah, no,
that's I got a good chili dog.
Yeah, it is a shame that we disappeared from each other for so long. Yeah. Him and I were like this, and then he moved and I moved at the exact same time. We both changed phone numbers, and when we tried to reach out to each other, we could not find each other. And it was decades. And then I posted a video of the two of us on YouTube. And literally like 2 or 3 days later, your wife finds the video and contacts me through Facebook. And that's how we reconnected after all these years. And she searched for the exact video that I posted, because there was a lot of stuff we did, and it was so it was so weird that I posted one piece, and that was the piece she looked for the same freaking week. Yeah. So anyway, it's a shame that we've been out of touch all these years, but it's glad to be back. I'm so glad to see you, and your wife is a hoot, and I love you, and I love you both.
All right, let's calm down there. Calm down there, Spanish Chin. We are at the 3-minute mark.
I see that. So we got to wrap it up.
Well, I wanted to get your opinion on one thing. Okay. I know you're a big follower of Return of the Living Dead.
Yes.
And they are making a new one somehow. Did you see the trailer that they released on Friday the 13th? What'd you think?
I thought it looked cool. It's a good premise. I thought that, somebody mentioned it's a really long extension cord. I agree with that. I thought the same thing, and I'm like, how long this cord? But no, I thought it looked cool. If it's got the same cast in it, which it's supposed to, if it's the same movie, because I know there was 2 different companies that were fighting over the rights to Return of the Living Dead, and I think this is the same one that Linnea Quigley is making, but that one was supposed to be called Trash's Revenge, so I'm not positive. But I went back and watched Return of the Living Dead, because I'm like, what I like about Return of the Living Dead, spoiler alert, turn off now if you don't know how it ends. Everybody dies. It's over. Boom, there's a big explosion. I rewatched it, and in the audio, they say they didn't hit the target. They hit close to the target. So technically, they didn't explode everybody. Those bodies could still be alive doing their thing. So that gave me hope. I'm like, okay, technically, they could still be around, and we could still see what happens to these characters. Because I think this movie is supposed to take place 18 months later. So I'm like, okay, let's check it out. And if there is, I think there's going to be some crowdfunding involved with this. Return of the Living Dead is my favorite film. That's one of the lines I ad-libbed in Death Bike. That's my favorite film. I'm willing to go a few extra dollars more for this project just to be a part of something, because I'm in all these things that I never actually followed before. I wasn't a big fan of Independence Day. I ended up in the sequel. I had never watched Breaking Bad before I did Better Call Saul. I ended up liking both of them, but this one is something I've loved my entire life. So if I can get into that world, and just hope it's better than the other sequels were, especially the later ones.
I think it was, we're less than a minute left here. All I want to say is, damn the trailer for showing you absolutely nothing. Damn, it looked good.
Yeah. If they put that much effort into the movie itself that they did in that trailer, we might have something.
Yes. And with that being said, I think we ought to close it out before we get cut off.
That's right.
So this has been In the Spotlight. Back to the Spotlight.
whatever you want to call it, on the spot.
I think we ought to do a Back to the Future type gimmick.
Okay.
Yeah, back to the spotlight.
Back to the
Marty. You can be Marty.
Marty.
I can be Doc Brown. Great Scott.
You look